let's talk about what you're good at. Now, I don't know if you had a moment like this, like I did when I was in middle school, but I remember a very distinct year to 2 years of my life when I realized some things I'm not good at. Not just one thing, lots of things. Let me tell you about my 8th grade year. In 8th grade at McMurray Middle School, I was cut from the basketball team during tryouts, the cheerleading team during tryouts, the soccer team during tryouts, was not allowed on the student council for some reason I don't even remember, and I did not make select chorus. Well, this is a shock to no one now because I can't sing at all. But at this time, I didn't know that. I didn't know that I wasn't a good singer. I didn't know that I wasn't going to be able to play basketball. It turns out I have zero hand-eye coordination. But as I was cut from these teams, I started to get a little discouraged. Like, am I not good at anything? Why can't I play these sports? Well, then I had another moment right around this stage of my life when I was at the skate center and I did a foot race after all the skate races were over. And y'all, I won. I've shared this story before, but it was this most amazing memory because in all the boys and all the girls in my age group, I came in first. It was the first time in my life I realized, hey, I might be naturally good at something. This might be something I was made to do, that I'm above average at without even really trying or practicing or being on a team or getting coaching. And the reality is all of us have this truth that there are things that we're good at and things that we're not. Now, you probably know that intuitively. You might be aware of some of your strengths from maybe a personality test. Maybe you've taken the Myers-Briggs or Strengths Finders, maybe like the Enneagram or the DISC. It doesn't matter. It's really important for you to know what those gifts are. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But first, I want to give you kind of a cheat sheet to help you understand what you're good at. If you've never taken a personality test, or maybe you just aren't sure what your strengths are, I want to give you what I call my 5 E questions. These are 5 questions that you can ask yourself to identify your strengths. If you want to get a notepad, if you're at home and you have a minute to sit down and journal, I want you to write down these questions and then write down your answers to these questions to help you understand and identify your strengths. All right, if you're ready, here are your 5 E questions. Number 1, what do you enjoy? What do you enjoy? What's fun to you? What do you like doing? More often than not, the things you enjoy are also your strengths. I don't like playing basketball because I'm terrible at it. On the other hand, I love to run because I'm really good at it. Now, other than maybe a few disillusioned American Idol contestants that we see during the tryout rounds, most people really enjoy their strengths. Those things you enjoy are probably things you're naturally good at. So what do you enjoy? Write down some examples, and it's going to give you a clue into what your strengths are. Question number 2, what gives you energy? What fills you up? What makes you come alive? What is so exciting and fun that when you're done doing it, you have more energy than when you started? Let me give you an example of 2 extreme opposites here. I can speak for 3 days straight at Business Boutique where I am going nonstop. It's early mornings, late nights, and I am on. And at the end of those 3 days, y'all, I am ready to run a marathon. I am so fired up. It's not that I'm not tired, but it's that good kind of tired where you can't wait to wake up and do it all again. See, when you're in your strengths, it gives you energy versus draining your energy. Now let's look at an opposite example. If you were to ask me to enter data into an Excel spreadsheet or read the fine print on some documents, y'all, I've got maybe 5 minutes and then I need a nap. Like, it drains me. Time stands still when I'm doing things that I'm not good at. So when you look at those tasks and activities and skills that give you energy, it's probably a clue that those things are your strengths. Those things that are life-giving to you, they fill you up instead of drain you and exhaust you. So your second E question is what gives you energy? Write down those things and you're going to have a good idea about what some of your strengths are. All right, question number 3. What is effortless for you? What's just easy for you? What feels as natural as breathing? You don't even have to think about it because it just is so easy for you. What are those things? More than not, the things that are easy for you are your strengths. That's why they're easy. You are made to do it. You are uniquely created and wired for those things. That's why they're easy for you. Now, quick disclaimer here. I want to caution you that these things, the things that you're going to write down for this particular E question, what comes effortless to you, these are the things that are the easiest to undervalue. Here's why. You assume, incorrectly, that just because this thing is easy for you, it's easy for everyone else too. Like, oh, well, anybody can do that, right? Oh, well, that's obvious to everyone else. Well, anybody can organize. Anybody can to fill out Excel spreadsheets. Anybody can speak on stage. Anybody can sing like that. Anybody can paint. Anybody can strategize about a business. Anybody can do that. But they can't. What's easy for you is not easy for everyone else. What's obvious to you is not obvious to everyone else. And y'all, I'll be honest, I struggle with this all the time. I will sit down to write a blog or an article or a stage talk or a post for social media, and I immediately assume everybody's gonna know this. Christy, no one is gonna like this. They all know this, duh. It's so obvious. But after 10 years of doing this work, of putting myself out there creatively, I have learned enough that that is simply not true. What's obvious to me is not obvious to everyone else. And the same is true for you. What's easy for you is difficult for someone else. What is obvious to you is amazing to someone else. In fact, when you use these strengths that are just so easy for you, you are able to bless those people that it's difficult for. When people help me organizationally, when people help me with details and documents and spreadsheets, it is such a gift to my life because I'm not good at that. I make mistakes and it wears me out. What a gift it is. And in the opposite way, when I'm able to bring ideas or creativity or vision or inspiration to a meeting or to a stage, that's a gift to people that don't want to do that, that's not easy for them. So what comes effortless to you? What's just easy? It's just as natural as breathing. Those things are probably your strengths. All right, question number 4. What do others encourage in you? What do other people encourage about you? What do people say about you? Oh gosh, you're so good at that. Man, you're a natural. Have you ever thought about starting a business doing that? What do people say? Sometimes identifying our own strengths comes through the gift of other people's compliments. Sometimes you might learn something about yourself by simply paying attention to what other people say, paying attention to what they notice about you. I've noticed, years before I became a speaker, that people would always say to me, wow, you're so inspirational. You're so passionate. You're so energetic. Wow, you really inspired me to do this thing. This is just from friends and family. But I noticed this pattern so much that it helped me understand something about myself. Maybe I'm uniquely gifted to encourage and inspire. Maybe that's a strength of mine. So what about you? What do other people encourage in you? When you write down those things, those patterns of what they say, you're going to have a good clue about what your strengths are. All right, question number 5, if you're tracking with me, this is our 5th and final E question. Where do you excel? Where do you perform above average in relation to other people? Now, listen, don't get all weird here. Don't get all squirmy and say, oh, me, I don't excel at anything. Let me think. Humility. I excel in humility. I'm not good at anything, but I am good at that. No, listen. If God made you good at something, own it. And more than that, Step into it. The world needs what you have to offer, what you were created to do, your gifts, your strengths, your talents. If you pretend they're not there, not only are you missing out on them, but we're missing out on them. So where do you excel? Be honest with yourself. Keith Urban saying that he's not a good guitar player is not humility. That's a lie. What are you good at? I remember that day that I won the foot race. And I only knew I was good at running because I could see how I performed as a middle schooler in relation to everyone around me. Now, you're not going to find your sole source of identity or significance in how you perform in relation to other people. But if you perform above average in an area, in singing, in organizing, in strategizing, in fitness coaching, in whatever the thing is, that's a clue for you that you're good at that thing. And that is nothing to be ashamed of. God gave you these gifts. He gave you these talents and skills to be able to bless other people with them. It's not anything to be ashamed of. If anything, it's something to be proud of, to own, to lean into, to channel, to be able to use that gift to bless other people. But you can't use that gift if you don't know what it is. So just answer the question. Where do you excel? Where do you perform above average in relation to other people? It's probably a clue that that thing is a strength. If you answer these 5 E questions, if you journal your answers and you list out ideas and tasks and responsibilities and actions that are in line with these questions, you're going to have a really good picture of what your strengths are. But we're not going to stop there. Just because you know your strengths doesn't mean you're done. After you know what they are, it's your job to multiply them. It's your job to use them and practice them and grow them and expand them and get better and make more of a difference with the strengths you've been gifted with. And I'm so excited because that's exactly what we're going to talk about today in part 2 of our conversation with John Bevere.